Here we go again on a Wednesday evening. Welcome to the show. My name is Kevin Barnes. I'm the host of Outlaw Radio, the architect of the People's News Network and the People's Network, which are two different things. If you'd like to know what they are, hit me up. Ask me what this about. Phone number 262-202-5131. Chat room on deck. Not alone, but welcome to Outlaw Radio Savage on a Wednesday night. Mr. Carter, what it do? How you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm peaceful today, y'all. I'm peaceful today. How y'all doing out there? And welcome to Outlaw Radio, where we talk that talk and we definitely walk that walk. Raising vibrations and elevating thought. Y'all better come on in. I'm trying to tell you I am the black woman lover, the black man's brother, the coach, teacher, hood healer, the ghetto witch doctor. Hey, mama! Get those CMOS, man! Y'all better come on in.
Welcome to the show. It's all about black people. It's all about black people stuff. What are we talking about? What's important to us. It's that kind of platform. So if that's what you like to converse about, then this is a perfect platform for you to kind of get into with us. Like I said, man, savage on a Wednesday evening. What do I mean by savage? Talk about that. Talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. But Kamar, how's your week been going so far?
Hey man, my week is good. You know what I mean? It's hot outside, but I love the heat. I'd rather it be 100 degrees than zero. I tell you that.
Okay.
The cold air hurt. So you know what I mean? I'm appreciating it. I spend some time outside, but I don't overdo it,
Okay.
But yeah, my week is going good, man. I'm loving it. I love it every week.
I'm all about the fall. I'm all about I'm all about autumn. I'm all about autumn. I don't mind the changing of the temperatures. I definitely will say that when it comes to my preference, I prefer to be mild, Kamar. I would prefer to be mild as opposed to,
Well, of course.
Either
Of course.
hot,
I'm just
hot
saying,
or
you know
cold.
what I mean? Either or, I'd rather it be 100 than zero.
Okay. Well,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? My
zeros.
preference is like 74 degrees, 80 degrees with a nice cool breeze coming through, sun
Right.
shining, you know what I'm saying? That's my preference.
Okay.
But I'm just talking about, how everybody talking about how hot it is everywhere you go. Man, it's so hot, it's hot, it's hot. Shit, I'd rather this than that zero. Few months, we gonna be missing this shit.
Oh my God! In a few months, we're gonna forget this ever even happened.
You know what I'm saying?
We'll forget this ever even happened. But the thing is like I said, man, people are gonna complain regardless.
Definitely.
So just enjoy it for what it is, right? How about we just leave it at that for people? Everything's so complicated now. Yeah, everybody has a preference, right? Whatever yours is, hopefully you're being served or serviced. Like I said, I like it somewhere in the middle, but like you said, I ain't no fan of 0 degrees either. So let's get that out the way. 0 degrees don't do me no good either. But 100 is kind of uncomfortable. So,
Right.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
It is. It definitely is.
Well, what you gonna do? Dion in the chat room already going. He says, "Hey everybody." He says, "Where are my people? We're here, Dion." He said he wants 0 degrees. He said, "I'm never gonna miss the hot weather. I hate summer." Now that's Dion. You might be the first person I ever heard say you hate summer. Like
Right.
most black people I know can't wait for summer to come.
Man, that's the best time of the year, Milwaukee.
Summer definitely has its advantages in Milwaukee. I gotta excuse me. I'm trying to get my camera right. I had a camera emergency tonight, so we're dealing with a backup here, and it's behaving like one. I'll get it together sooner or later. But yeah. So he said he hates summer. I've never heard that before. I've never heard a black person say they hate summer. So that's definitely unique. But that's Dion as well. Dre in the chat room, he said, "What's up? How you doing, my brother? How you doing? How you doing?" I'm trying. Let me see if I can get this thing right, y'all. I got to get it feasible because I'm looking at myself, and if I don't look right to myself, then I can't do the show. I'm gonna have to work on this as we go. Kamar, you got something coming up. Now I don't know if you're ready to talk about this yet. I heard you're talking about something with entrepreneurship. You want to explain
Oh
what this
yeah, it's a
business
class. I
is?
got a class that I put together,
Okay,
and
talk
I'm gonna
about
start
that for a
teaching
minute.
it at Wellness Our Way. I'm gonna start doing it at Wellness Our Way. It's called Hustler to Owner. It's geared towards hustlers that have or that want to become business owners. You know what I mean? I was looking for the right word, that's why I hesitated. But yeah, it's for hustlers that want to become business owners. You know what I mean? Don't know what to do. You got the right mindset, but you don't got the right mindset. You almost there. See, what I understand is a lot of people, a lot of brothers that be out here in these streets hustling, get money, and they're somewhat successful at it. You know, they usually have a business mindset. They just don't know it. You know what I mean? And my goal is to teach brothers how to use that mindset and push it into a business. You know what I mean? So you could do something right with your life, do something real with your life. It's a dope vibe, you know what I mean? I done talked to a couple brothers, you know what I mean, and kind of ran over the class, did a little practice run and shit. You know, it was dope. I'm talking to them about finding your passion. You know what I'm saying? Your passion. I feel like that's a big deal when you're talking about starting a business because you gotta love what you do. You know what I mean? You gotta love what you do. You see a lot of people supporting. You see a lot of people supporting, or you see a lot of people that don't support a lot of people. You see motherfuckers getting mad and shit. You know, and the thing is, you gotta love what you do, so you won't care who's supporting you or not, because you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it to find peace in yourself, to find that happy space of what you like to do. You know what I mean? And it usually has something to do with teaching, or not teaching, but it usually has something to do with helping somebody. You know what I mean? Your passion, your purpose is usually a service to somebody. You know what I'm saying? And it's a place and a time for you to find that peace within yourself also. You know, I get up in the morning and get right to it. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like I'm going to work when I do what I do. I'm on my way to the store. I don't feel like I'm going to work. You know what I mean? It's the fun part. You know what I'm saying? I get to talk to people and do my thing. So I want to get brothers to that point. You know what I mean? To where they doing what they love in life and they can turn a business into it. I show them or help them figure out a way to monetize. You know what I mean? And my thing is to find what you love to do and monetize it as many different ways as possible.
Okay, okay. Definitely a great idea. I think brothers that really hustle in the streets underestimate their savvy to operate a
Definitely.
business a lot of times. And I think a lot of times, because we've discussed on this show, when you're in the streets and you're getting what we call street money, right? When you hustling, when you're in the game, the money almost becomes, well, people say, well, I'm a hustler, I'm all about my money. And the struggle to obtain it. But once you get it, it becomes almost second or third, because the lifestyle is takes over and it becomes number one. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Just that whole mantra of I'm a hustler, I'm out here getting this
Right.
bread, woo woo woo, the possessions, the power, and then the
You know, and it's
competition.
something else. It's just so much. It's so much to hustlers that is good for business. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that drive that most of them got to really get out here and get to it. You know
Well,
what
we
I'm saying?
we criticize and critique corporate America because of
Right.
the cutthroat nature of business, because of their aggressiveness, because of corporate takeovers and all this kind of thing. But that's what it takes to make it in the streets, though.
That's right.
You
That's
gotta have
right.
that same mentality.
Yeah, you got to be ready to say fuck it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's a lot. Like I said, brothers got a lot of what it takes. You know what I mean? And it come natural because we do it so much. I mean, even down to simple stuff like we talk about measurements. I was at this herb store and I was telling them I wanted 2 ounces or something, you know, and she said, "Well, we only have 80 grams of it." And you know what I'm saying? And I don't think we have 2 ounces. And I'm like, well, ma'am, that's more than 2 ounces. That's more than enough. But like little simple stuff like that, to us, it come natural.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? Stuff come natural, and it's like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
And we don't get it, like the profit margins and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like we always debating a better price so we can make more money. You know what I mean? Like the shit come. It's a lot of shit that come natural.
Or even with the measurements. You talk about brothers who swear they can't learn anything and
Right.
but you learn the metric system like a motherfucker.
Like a
Ounces,
motherfucker, man.
kilos,
You know it like the back of your hand.
quarter ounces, quarter pound. Then you
Right.
nickname it 4 in a split,
Hey,
double
look,
up. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean? And then nowadays, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the young folks, they done switched it up to where they don't even know the real names and shit. They saying
the
eighth,
nicknames, right?
an eighth,
Right.
3.5. Like
Right.
that was an 8 ball.
Let me
You
get an
know what I
elbow.
mean?
What's an elbow?
You know
Um,
what I mean?
let me see. Let me see. Dion said okay, so Dre Day said Outlaws check in. There you go, my brother. Shout out to Dre Day, man. Dre Day rock with a strong. Shout out to Dre Day. I hope we got to get you on here to talk about your studio. Me and Kamar went and stood in there. He was supposed to come on. We just this thing is crazy how it moves when things that's supposed to happen don't. Dion said I never liked summer even when I stayed in the city due to the violence. If it stopped in the wintertime here, that would bring me some, I'd feel okay. But it don't even stop in Milwaukee.
I don't give a fuck.
It's just
Nigga, you get found in the motherfucking snowbank.
right. Yeah, we followed the blood. It's not. Let's just say Lore Craft Animation Official. They would say, "Hey, Kamar, how you been, man? It's me, Darian. It's one of your people saying what's up
Peace,
to you.
family. Peace.
I hope I
Been
said that
all
right.
good, man. How you doing?
Lore, is it Lore Craft Animation? My eyes ain't what they used to.
That's what it says. Yep. I'm not
Okay.
sure if that's.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it says.
TR Arthur in the chat room said, "Good evening, Kevin, Kamar, and the Outlaw family. How you doing, my sister? How you doing? 262-202-5131. On Wednesday night, like I said, man, halfway through the week, almost to the weekend, and then we hit reset, but this is a 3-day weekend. Another white man's holiday. I don't know how you say this one. I don't know what the pagan nature of this one is, but all I know is there will be a shish kebab laying across some coals if I survive, if I live. The old folks say, if the Lord bless me with just to see the day, I'm gonna fire my grill up. Yes, I am. But it's gonna be an intimate cookout for just my wife and I. No chaps here. Vince Tony. Vince is Outlaw. Vince. Oh my God, Vince. They know Vince's name when he walk in meetings. Oh shit, here he comes.
Oh damn. There goes the neighborhood.
Who told dude about this shit? What up, Vince? Hey man, listen. Savage. What does that mean? What does that suggest? I don't know what it means or suggests, but I know the truth is, if you read the news and you keep up on the latest in Milwaukee in terms of these crimes being committed with youngsters, our young and the ones in particular involve our youngsters, black youngsters. These kids stealing cars, running into people, running into buildings, causing multiple pileups, egregious gun crimes, assault, robbery, like direct carjacking, straight kick though, run up in your house. Savage behavior, man. It's antisocial, it's sociopathic, it's suicidal, it's homicidal, it's genocidal. Whew. I'm praying for these youngsters right now. I mean, because I'm seeing these car accidents, and how many hit and runs have we seen this summer, just this summer, that were by a teenager, 14 to 17, in a stolen car? Sometimes leaving the scene where they had just committed another heinous crime. It's absolutely time to stop sugarfooting, pussyfooting around this issue. And I'm talking to my people. Nobody wants to see these babies locked up. Nobody wants it to become a situation where the young black male has to really walk around and be worried about somebody snatching him or her off the street. And I say young black male, but I'm talking to these young sisters too. But we got to come up with something, man. I'm gonna say it. I'm a black man. I know it's a dirty term. Mandatory minimums. And my parents that have these children, God bless you, first of all, because I know you get the critique of being a piss poor parent. But I'm here to tell you that's not always the case.
No.
There's some people who love their children, who try their best. Maybe it's a single mom. In a lot of cases, it's a mom and a dad. Sometimes it's a mom and a stepdad, or a dad and a stepmom. Sometimes it's a grandmother and a grandfather. Sometimes it's an uncle or auntie. And they're trying to give this kid all they can. And it's just not working. I have sat and had conversations with people who have children who were involved in the justice system, adjudicated teenage felons. And the conversation would lead to, okay, so, why haven't you, what have you basically done to try and assist? And it always comes down to, look, man, I've done my best with this boy. Like, he or she has this, has that, has this, has that. I had to take this away from him. And it's just like something's not clicking. So maybe we need to come together. Well, and this probably is already being done. Somebody needs to figure out what these parents need for support. Because I know the county and the city and the state's kind of perspective of helping you parent is 0 to none, which it should be. It's either you want to turn them over to us, or you gonna have to do something about this. And so I say everything starts in the home, and I believe that. But what do you do if you have a child who, for whatever reason, has made a conscious decision, even though they're not as informed as they should be? Obviously, they're children. But this child has made a choice or a decision to, I'm going to do what I want to do. Don't care, ain't listening. I don't care. What do you do? I mean, do you then sign them up? Hey, call the
That's the
county.
dilemma.
Look, can't do nothing else with them.
But I mean, it's almost like you have to look at what's going on today,
Okay.
right? Um, with that lifestyle, we was just saying it the other day. It's either jail or death.
Okay.
Which one do you want your child in? A cell or a box?
Judged by 12 or carried by 6.
Hey, you know what I mean? Let's get serious.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a conversation that needs to be had, Kamar, because something
Yeah,
has to be done. Right.
definitely.
So I look, and not just because from a punitive standpoint, not just, oh, I want, whoop their ass, lock them up, but for these, I mean, they're supposed to be the future.
It's on to clean up it's on to clean the community up from a clean the community up standpoint.
And they are supposed to be the
Whether it's your
future.
kids or not, you know what I mean? These kids got to go learn a lesson. Because if you've been teaching them right, it's gonna catch up to them. At least they get a time to go sit down somewhere to think about it,
Y'all let me know.
rather than being hurt seriously.
262-202-5131. And we all know a parent. We all know someone who has a child. And you say, I know firsthand that they did everything they could for that boy.
Mm-hmm.
But you go back and you say, well, what happened to cause he or she to be this way? Sometimes it is genetic. Sometimes it's, it's in your DNA.
Sometimes it's friends. You meet with you get wind up with the wrong friends and
Negative
shit.
influence. Yes.
And
Yes.
you know
Yes.
what I mean? It could be a lot of different stuff.
Yes.
But the bottom line is, if your child ain't correcting, you know what I mean? If you can't correct your child, you got to do something about that. Because something is gonna happen. He either gonna end up in jail anyway, or like I said before, it could be death.
So do you
Hopefully
believe?
they get it before any of that shit happen and they switch their program up.
So do you believe? And I know we're very prideful people. Okay. Do you believe in some cases we just wait until it's too late? Because we don't want it. We don't want it to reflect on us as, oh, I'm a shitty parent, or,
Mm-hmm.
or or I didn't do my job right. So black people, we circle the wagons when it comes to in the house. We grew up on that. What happened in this
I don't
house?
want my child mad at me.
Well, what happens in this house, stay in this house. So
I'm talking about holding them accountable. They out there terrorists out here in these streets and shit. You know what I mean? Like You call the police. You know they out here hurting people and shit. You know what
So
I mean? It's hard, man. Like, but it's that tough conversation.
so if I'm as a parent, if I'm watching my child, and I think a lot of times the signs are there. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if people wait until it's too late. I have a choice to make
Right.
because
Because you don't want to believe it.
you can't live in my house like that. Like you can't go and come as you please. You can't not have a job, not have a plan, but continuously have money. You can't park your Caprice Classic on 36s in my yard. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
going through your
Because you know
shit.
what happens a
I
lot
better
of the
not
time
find
is
no pistol. I better not find no dope. I better not. You gotta go.
you're right. Because you know a lot of the time, man, the youth is getting glorified for being a terrorist. You know what I mean? They get glorified for being a motherfucking wild boy out here. He a fool. He keep a pistol with him. That's cousin so, and you know what I mean. Like motherfuckers get glorified for that shit, man. Instead of getting held accountable for doing the bullshit. Like you remember back in the day, like a family could have a big dope dealer, a big time drug dealer in the family, and everybody look up to him. That's Uncle So and So. That's Uncle So and So. He cool. That's he. You know what I mean? But really, like dog is dumping dope off in the hood. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers getting, he might not be doing the killing, but motherfuckers is getting killed around here because of this shit and all type of shit. But you know what I mean? They get glorified
Yeah,
because it's state family.
something created by poverty.
Right.
Sire Williams, he said, "Good evening, Outlaws. How you doing, my brother? How you doing? How you doing? Hope everything's going well over at Hidden Hard Radio."
Peace.
Um, Vince is saying, "What's up to Sire?" Check this out though. So, but it's another conversation about I don't want to make my kids mad at me. That's a different Kamar. That's a different set of problems
Yeah.
because now, parents, I'm looking at you. This is all your fault. I look, my son. I had a very good relationship with him, and we were cool because I wanted him to understand that you can come and talk to me about any and everything. My daughter as well, but my son, and I'm speaking just as from a male perspective, like a young black male. We were cool. But anytime there was a requirement for me to put him in his place as the child in the relationship, I did so. I never hesitated to discipline him because I didn't want him to be mad at me.
Mhm.
You
But
know
you
what
know,
I'm saying?
that's them parents that want to be the friends versus parents.
Yeah. Um,
And that's some of them shit too that, you know what I mean, create that type of behavior.
yeah. I hear my daughter always tells my wife, "You're my best friend." And my wife always tells her, "No, I'm not. I'm your mother." You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And I can see how my daughter, feels that way. Like, mom,
Hmm.
you my
Yeah.
number one go-to, but
Your
she
wife understand too, but she
yeah,
know like, no, we got to make this clear. Keep this
gotta be lines, gotta be
right,
parameter, gotta
right,
be boundaries, baby. And so with my once again, in my son, and sometimes when I've had to redirect him and realize it may be because of an assumption he had of me approving something dysfunctional, right? And so I will make the point of saying, yeah, I'm cool. We holler sometimes, but this ain't that. You this is that's not I'm not your friend.
right.
We cool, but I'm not your homeboy. You know, everything got to be on the table.
That's right.
So and I'm not putting this medal on me saying I'm father of the year or whatever. I'm not because I'm sure there's some things he probably say, well, dad, and I may have handled them wrong. I don't, but what I always tried to do, my point with all of that was I always tried to make sure that he understood that, yeah, we cool. Yeah, you can talk to Pops is cool, but I'm gonna hold you accountable too. You gotta be a straight up and down youngster. Like you can't. And I always Kamar worked on the incentive system. Whereas if you fucking up, you don't deserve none of my money.
Right.
Like you're
Straight up.
not, you can't stay eligible. You ain't kicking it. You ain't
Right.
you ain't
None of
living the
that.
fly.
Right.
most of the shit you got, and my son had a lot of shit, is because when he done something right, when he was doing something good, I didn't mind. In my head, I said, okay, he's a good kid. I'm gonna try to give him some of the stuff he wants. Same thing with my baby girl. So that's one part of it. But the second part then is this system, we know that juveniles usually can do pretty much anything and still get a second chance later on in life because their records are sealed. And people still say,
You
nah.
got to say that with parentheses, right?
Right.
It's only sealed when it benefit them. You know what I mean?
Right. And unless you do something else, then that shit has
Right.
a tendency to get brought back up in court. Right?
Yeah. I remember when that shit got brought back up on me. I looked around like, hey man, wait a minute. Y'all ain't supposed to be saying that. Like
I was 15.
Y'all ain't supposed to be saying that. Thought that was closed.
It's mysteriously unsealed, Mr. Carter.
Right.
It's a big, long, it's not a simple situation, but I also think it's not very complicated for all parents who have children. And I see so much neglect when I'm out, right? And I see people interacting with children. And it always used to piss me off. And it still does when I'm in the store and there's a 2-3-year-old, and there's a parent, and I know maybe you're under pressure, maybe you're stressed out, maybe you're going through a lot, but for you to be cursing that baby out, sit your stupid ass down. I'm gonna beat the fuck out of your dumb ass. Like, I'm turning around like, yo, you the dumbass. That's a child. I'm not saying don't reprimand in the store. You got little kids, you got to get them trained. Hey, take your hand off of that. I'm gonna whoop your ass.
You know what people don't think of? Like how they feel when people talk to them like that.
You know how they feel.
That.
They go to hollering on my mama and all this shit.
You know what I'm saying? They just figure this is my kid. I say what I want to say.
What I want to say.
I'm the grown up.
You don't tell me how to raise mine. But when you can't control him or her anymore, then you want advice from her. But somebody, please.
Right.
What should I do? It's that's why we got to be careful about, shaming people. Because like I said, I know there's some parents who tried. And sometimes the time doesn't, because I got to keep a roof over our head, or I have 3 more kids, right? I can't lose 3 because I'm running around behind him or her. But I think there's so much to be said about the foundation that you build with your children. I think it's hard to come in when he's 15 and you ain't been there trying to call shots. His natural instinct as a man is to be like, I don't know you, nigga. You can't tell me shit.
Right.
I think it's kind of hard unless you were there when that child was young, to build a foundation, to establish some trust so that they're familiar with you. You know what I mean? So, and I know some people say, Kev, I couldn't be there when he was young. Well, then that means when you do come in, you got to come in strategically, and you have to be aware of the fact that he or she really doesn't know you. I'm your father, says you. Motherfucker, right. I just met you on Wednesday. So maybe we need to start doing, come on, is it a way with your event that you can work in some parenting, some family classes?
That would be dope.
I'm not volunteering or nothing. I'm just saying.
Or even if it was just like a group type thing, a discussion, a talk. You know what I mean? Let's come talk this stuff out. Figure out how to get through these different issues, how to overcome, how to, you know what I mean? How to get past how we talk to our kids and how to fix that. And then it's like, where do we come from? Because we got to fix ourselves. Like, why are you doing that? Who did it to you? You know what I mean? And you got to start. It's a bunch of shit. Like, you know what I mean? So like maybe we could make that like a group type therapy type.
Hurt people. But you'd have to do, Kamar, you'd have to put a sign at the door. That's it. If you are sensitive, if you are triggered, if you are volatile, do not come in here. Because when that conversation get tough, what you don't want is somebody, hey, you motherfuckers, then you're gonna have to leave. Fuck that, I ain't going nowhere. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to vet that crowd to say, if you're coming in here, we're gonna have some tough conversation.
People, just let them talk. Air
Well,
it out. Talk by yourself. Air it out.
but it
Get it
can't.
over
If
with.
you got other people in there and this person is directly, somebody said something,
Okay.
and for this motherfucker up here who don't even know me, you know how we get, man. You just have to when people come in, you have to have a major disclaimer to say,
Oh yeah, definitely.
you will be removed.
Definitely.
So that'd be a good idea. I mean, I'm thinking maybe probably need some life coach services offered up in there too, but you know what I'm saying? I don't want to I don't want to overwhelm you. You understand what I'm saying? I happen to know a few certified professional life coaches, but that's all.
I was gonna say, man, you start selling services.
Yeah, man. Listen.
Hey, that's what the workshops is all about.
Skin need
Promoting
low
services.
teeth
Promoting
need
services.
okay. Yes. Dion said, true speaking is Kev. Some people don't want these motherfucking kids. Say that. Listen, you know how therapeutic it would be for you to say, listen, a lot of this is really my fault because to tell you the truth, I wasn't ready to be a parent. I have always felt, because people don't want to admit that. Because somebody, what kind of motherfucker is you? You don't love your own kids? It's okay for you to say, man, I never intended to be a parent. This came on me. The father left or the mother left. I had to assume all this responsibility. It stressed me for a very long time. And get that out the system. Get that out your system and say, hey, man, because some people say, I always wanted to be a parent. Or they have a natural parenting instinct. But you meet some people, like I got some partners who I know, I look at and say, you don't need no kids. You do not need no kids. You don't have the mentality. It takes a certain mentality to be a parent, man. And children are very, very challenging, especially when you don't have access to a lot of different resources. If you've been a parent, you've been through that, man. You've been through the struggle. You've been like, man, as a father, that's why, when brothers, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. So I ran. I look at them and just laugh because I do recall holding my daughter for the first time as a newborn, looking at her and knowing at that point, I didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. The only thing I literally had in this world was a Cadillac. That was the only thing I owned besides my clothes, right? I'm like, but I came to the realization that from here on out, whatever she eats, I have to provide it. The shelter she requires, I have to provide it. The clothes, I knew at that point it wasn't just about me no more. And I know some brothers can't, and it's a scary feeling, Kamar, because you start thinking, well, how am I gonna do this shit? How am I gonna be somebody's daddy? And if you stay the course and you enjoy it and embrace it for what it is, ultimately you figure it out. But if you run, now you're setting a precedent for yourself that every time shit gets tough, every time shit gets hard, you're gonna run. That's chapter 1 of Your Life, written by Kevin Barnes, certified professional life coach. 1995 for the rest of the book right now. I'm joking. Tiasha said, I hate when I see peed up people with kids cussing out toddlers. And I really hate seeing a person with a kid walking way ahead of toddlers. I recently, at the risk of getting cussed out, told a person with kids, she said PWK, to get her baby's hand. How are you crossing the street with your kid far behind you? That pissed me off. So I had to say something. And that's what, a lot of us are tempted. Listen, I had something happen to me this summer that almost changed my life. It almost turned my whole entire life out. And I think about it all the time of what my life would have been like had this situation gone wrong. I was driving down the street. Okay. I don't fly like that. So I'm if I get up some good speed, turn on the radio, one of my songs on, I'm do, you know what I mean? I turn the corner. There's a playground. There's a school by my house. There's a playground. There's nobody on the playground. It's late in the evening, late in the afternoon, but it's still sunny because it's summertime. As soon as I turn the corner and I'm coming up the street, the door of a minivan SUV opens and a kid about 3 years old hops out. Kamar, I was so close. Like, now I'm going 25, 30 miles per hour. I was so close to this baby. I looked her dead in her eyes. Man, I slammed on my brakes as hard as I could and whipped the car the opposite way. She stopped and ran and got back in the van where she was at. And I just sat there for a minute. Because I'm like, dude, I just almost ran over that little baby. And I looked at the mother. I'm not going to talk about how she looked because her appearance was a hot mess in the first place. I don't know if this was the mother. This was the adult behind the wheel. And she looked at me with a blank look on her face. And I'm looking like, who does that? Who tells the kid? I never told her, y'all go ahead across the street.
She probably listened to Sexy Red.
Or rolling up a blunt.
She probably was listening to Sexy Red too.
And here's the killer part. When I finally drove off and I'm going, because now I'm going down the street like 7 miles per hour. And I look in my rear view and guess what? Then the little girl jumps out the van again and goes across the street. So she told her, now go. Instead of getting out the van like you're supposed to do as a parent, opening the door, grabbing the kid, taking him by the hand, saying, come on, y'all. But it would have looked like I was in the wrong. It would have looked like, here this dude come flying down the street, hit a little girl. You know how much sleep I would have lost knowing I hit a little girl with my car, and God forbid she was hurt badly or passed away. My life would have been toe up, Kamar.
Right.
I would have been a mess. And all I would have been able to say is, why would you tell that baby, Kamar, she couldn't have been no more than 4 years old. And she knew she was wrong because she stopped and ran back and got in the van.
Mm-hmm.
She did not look at all. I'm just saying.
Hey, but you probably taught her how to look now. Because that probably scared the shit out of her too. And her mama, though, is the problem. You know what I mean?
I wasn't going slow.
That's what I said. Like, she probably listened to Sexy Red.
You know what it taught me?
Hmm.
Anytime there's a playground, a park, a neighborhood where there's kids on the street, slow the fuck all the way down. Like now, if you see me driving and there's kids in the vicinity, my hands tighten up on. Dude, I was going over that scenario for like 2 weeks straight after that. Because I didn't think I was going to be able to stop Kamar. I really was like, dude, what can I do? I just slammed my brakes. And, my car has really nice brakes. It does. Because I ain't going to lie, it stopped. And it went like I said, I steered off. So it's like, okay, whew. Imagine if I'm in a bucket or my brakes go out or God forbid, I'm not paying attention. I got a body on me now because this booger wolf.
Yep.
Come on, man. It's some parenting.
And even if
calamities
they
out.
charge you for it, that shit would still be on your conscience.
Right. Because I would have been exonerated, most definitely. Because I wasn't drinking.
Right.
I wasn't high. I wasn't speeding.
And it was her fault.
It was her fault. That baby didn't know no better. The adult was supposed to take care of that. So, man, I see it all the time, man. And I see people, they got little bitty kids just outside. How's she out here by herself? What you doing? Man, I'm getting upset thinking about it. Tiarsha says that's why I refuse to say parent. No, those types of people are PWKs. People with kids. Lord. Y'all share the show, man. Let people know Outlaw Radio's on. Let people know you rock with us. Tell people to tune in. Get theirs off their chest. I have another, because my perspective on what's happened in our community lately is ever evolving, and I'm talking about the presidential election and not just the election, but the controversies that have come from the campaigning of Kamala Harris. But first, I want to say to people, Cornel West is on the ballot, as well as Robert F. Kennedy, even though he's abandoned his campaign and through his support behind Trump. Cornel West is on the ballot. So there's that. Won it out in court. But like I said, this argument has just been elevated, and I see Luke and Rizza Islam. Rizza Islam is a classy brother. He never lets cats take him there. I see Luke riding on Tariq Nasheed, and so I start to think about the whole FBA concept. I started to think about the descendants of slaves, the whole freedmen. And I start to say, is this divisive? And Kamar, it is. It is. The fact that we are now calling those who are not direct lineage of the same direct lineage as we are.
And that's some bullshit, man, because like they pick and choose.
But hold on. But it's necessary. I'm gonna tell you why. Okay. Now some of it is derogatory because we talk about tether Negroes now. You throw this in. See, we've come up with a new way for us to disrespect us. But I feel like this had to happen. As divisive as it is, Kamar. And the reason being is because for so long, who has absorbed the brunt of racism, discrimination, and segregation in this country? Foundational Black Americans. Who wears the badge of disgust and dishonor? Who is the poster child of dysfunction? Foundational Black Americans. Those who are not from here, for years and years and years, made it a point to let you know, I'm Haitian, I'm Jamaican, I'm Nigerian. For years they have. And we kept saying, well, hold on. Y'all in the house we built, though. Y'all in the house we built. But we never had an identity. We've been saying, what is Black? What is Black culture? Everybody has gotten it. Everybody's been able to enjoy it. The triumphs, the tragedies. But when it comes time to vacate the building, everybody's able to do so. Shit, I ain't with them niggas. And so there became a time when Black people said, you know what, enough is enough. Okay. We the niggas, we Black, we the descendants of slaves. So now when somebody says, hey, my parents were from the Dominican Republic, my mom's from Jamaica, you can say, my parents from here. I'm a Black American. Because they can say, I'm an islander. They can say I'm Jamaican. They can say I'm French. They can say I'm Spanish. But you telling me we can't say, well, no, we're foundational Black Americans. The problem comes when people start to get rejected and maybe they've contributed to our movement, like Minister Farrakhan, like Malcolm X, like Marcus Garvey, who we would not define as foundational Black Americans. And I take Brother Malcolm out because I don't know his dad's lineage. I know his mother was part white, or I've read that she was part white somewhere along the line. But I thought that his dad was actually FBA. I don't know. But his biracial, and even in that, biracial people have been able to wear that identity. I'm biracial. I'm a mulatto. What do most biracial people tell you? Hey, man, I'm biracial. I love everybody. I got white in me. They're claiming their heritage. So what is wrong with me saying, nah, but see, I don't do it with any angst against somebody who's not, right? So go ahead.
Hey, no, I was just thinking about what's her name, Meghan Markle. She
Okay.
never claimed being Black, but Black women was like, she's a Black woman. That's a Black woman. She married the prince. That Black woman married him. She came up. That Black woman came up.
How many Black women for the last 20 years been saying, girl, you need to step outside your race. I went and found somebody outside my race. And now she ain't Black. She married to a white man. Don't vote for her.
I'm saying my thing is Black people will claim her before they claim Kamala.
Right.
Like, what the fuck, man?
Do y'all think this is divisive?
Hey, I just shared a post to the People's Network. It's a meme with Kwame Brown, right? And it's saying Kwame Brown said, Kamala's skin color ain't gonna put no money in none of our pockets.
Right.
The fuck we arguing about that for?
But neither is either
That's
candidate.
what I'm saying. So what the fuck we arguing about that for?
Tiasha says, thank goodness it was you. Just think if it was a reckless driver going up the street. Hey, I wish it wasn't me. It scared the living shit out of me. I'm telling you, it ruined my evening that day. I'm just now speaking about it. It happened 2 months ago. That's how bad it affected me. I don't get shaken easily by nothing. But I literally looked this little girl right in her face. I could see the fear in her eyes. All I could do was hit my brakes, not knowing if the next sound I was going to hear was a and then the screams and the cries. I remember driving to the end of the block and there was a brother outside in front of the house with his kids playing and with his girl. And when I turned the corner, I looked at him and he kind of looked at me like, threw his hands up like he wanted to say, you need to slow down. I'm like, what? He going fast. It was, whew. Oh man, Mark Ross, how you doing, my brother? Y'all share the show, share the show, share the show. I meant to say share. I just said show a bunch of times. It wasn't no echo. It was me fucking up. Ewok in the building. He said, I'm late. Give me a quick breakdown, man. The name of the show is Outlaw Radio Savage. We started off talking about the problem we're having with these young people in Milwaukee because we do have a serious issue with our youngsters. They off the chain right now. I'm sorry. I know. Well, white kids come in crying. I'm not talking. I ain't worried about them. I'm talking about us. And I'm not comparing them to white people as if they are the standard, the gold standard. You need to be more like white kids. I'm not saying that either because white ice ain't colder. But we talked about that. But right now, what we're talking about is the latest. I see us tearing ourselves apart at the seams about this foundational Black American tethered Negro who's what. And I feel like I kind of have played into this over the years because I've always made the distinction of myself being a descendant of sharecroppers from Jim Crow, Mississippi, who were the sons of sharecroppers and daughters of sharecroppers from Mississippi or wherever else in the South, all the way back to slavery. My family is like that, as they say. And so I've always I've taken a little bit of pride in that we've made it from those cotton fields to where we are now up north, because I like to think I carried the banner a little bit further. You know what I'm saying? And my kids are doing it now. So it's important. It has been important to me to make that point, but not to demean or degrade any other person of color. As a matter of fact, I've stated many times that if you're not a foundational Black American, I don't believe you deserve reparations. Okay. Because if it's about what happened to us during slavery and your family didn't take part in it, you don't deserve any other bread. But if it's about what happened to us collectively in this country as people of color, then you deserve some of it, because if you look Black, you got the same goddamn treatment that the rest of us got. You couldn't tell the police, wait a minute, I'm Haitian. So what, island nigger? Boom, they'd hit your ass too. So it's ever evolving with me, y'all. It's ever evolving with me. And that's how we should all be. Stop making your mind up once and then leaving it made up for the rest of your life without any kinds of adjustments or re-examination or reevaluation. Stop doing that shit. That shit's so small-minded. What they say, growth
That's how you
mindset.
evolve.
Yeah.
That's how you evolve. That's how you create a new you. You can never create a new you if you don't do that. You know what I mean? If you want to do new things with your life, you got to do different things in life.
I couldn't have said that no better than myself. No better myself, and I'm a good stuff sayer. So I'm good at saying stuff, right? Like, yeah, that was dope, right? You know what I'm saying? Mike Ross says no love, attention, and guidance at home. But what if you give them that? Because the anomaly is sometimes you do provide that and say, look, I'm doing the best I can, man. What? And the kid, but the environment too. And I think a lot of parents aren't fully aware of how to regulate their child's environment, right? I keep going back to myself because I'm the only example that I have. Okay. But I can look at how my parents looked at it. Like, they didn't The school I went to was based on the reputation of the school. Like, I remember when I got ready to go to middle school, my mother said, your ass is not going to Burroughs. You're not going to Jackie Robinson. You're not going to Edison, because them is all badass schools. I was like, damn. And then she sent my ass to Bell Middle School because she thought because it was far away, it was going to be cool. Didn't know this shit ended up introducing me to the ghetto, because the bus went from Olive straight south, right? So, and she found that out later. But she thought, okay, I got to make sure the people who he's around are going to be, the kind of kids that won't influence him to get. They had no clue what was really going on in the neighborhood behind the scenes. So I ended up getting involved with that crowd anyways. So with my son and my daughter, it was extremely important for, if a young man wanted to kick it with my son, he had to meet me. Not like a no diddy, like a girlfriend type shit, but let me holler at him and see where he at. And all my son's friends, pops. What up, Mr. Barnes? Because they know Kev's regulated. And if I get a piece of spidey sense that you be on some bullshit, he won't be fucking with you. Because I'll tell him, hey, man, you ain't running with dude. Let dude on some other shit. You might as well tell him, Dad, can I go? With dude? No. Nah. So, regulating their environment is also very important when we start talking about parenting. Because, eventually you can check your kids, like, we check our kids' phones, and I'm making sure you're not looking or listening to anything. And as soon as he gets to school, his partner hand him his phone and say, look at this dog. So he sees it anyways. So maybe if you give him some game or some understanding, when he see it, he say, oh man, okay. He ain't driven mad by like, oh shit. Like, you have to prepare them. So thank God for my wife and the fact that we've always been a two parent, like we've been a team when it comes to the kids. She may have been mad as hell at me. I may have been mad as hell at her, but when it came to them, it was always on the one. Like, no. We just don't. That's not compromise. You can't compromise that. Ewok says if she gets elected, if she gets elected, what we can do is make our demands day one. Why talk shit and not ask for shit the week before the election? All these upset people ain't gonna have shit to say after the election because they just need something to argue about. Okay. Shay is in the chat room. How you doing, Shay? Shout out to you and Shabaka. And the Black Experience Enhanced and Frontline Black News. He says, tether equal foreign raccoons. Not all foreigners, just the ones that want to undermine us, FBA, DOAs, and freedmen. So you are the perfect person for me to ask about, and I don't know how long you've been listening because we just talked about this, the whole movement. It is a movement when we talk about the FBA situation now, the DOAs, the freedmen. It's a movement now. It got momentum. It got us feeling a certain kind of way, but it is ultimately divisive amongst people of color. Is it not? Jesse Parrish, you're the expert. I'd like to hear what you think about this. Go ahead, Kamar.
It's definitely divisive. You know what I mean? Because you got three different names, there's three different groups, and these are three different groups of Black people. You know what I mean? That's divisive. That's what divisive is. It's dividing.
Yeah, once again, that's very good, right? Jamaica's very good. That's a good point.
Right.
Divisive is something that divides.
Right.
But is this division needed at this point? Like, come on, we need something. We need something to hold, something that's ours. Because we've given everybody, all of us, forever, right? And every time we've shared or we've allowed people access to anything we do, our food, our culture, our clothes, our music, the way we walk, the way we talk, they take it and spin it and usually make a profit off of it, and we still left as customers. So it might be time to say, hold on, boom, boom, boom. This is us. This is for us. We're going to support us. But it becomes a very nitpicky thing. Because can I say somebody is no longer FBA because they marry a white person, right? And their child comes out, well, maybe this person is Haitian. and they consider themselves black, but then they marry a Latino, and then this child comes out. What is this Latino? You ain't black. You ain't black. I just think it's there's pros and there's cons, but I do also believe that some of this shit we just don't need to be arguing about. Why are we insulting each other at this point? Why are we fighting us when we got a whole MAGA machine? Who, by the way, is there's a special prosecutor trying to make sure he does stand trial for what he did with the insurrection, right? Special counsel has said a new indictment for Trump. And they've taken certain things. I don't know if this is, just for the shits and giggles. They've taken certain things out and made some adjustments. But this special prosecutor is saying, no, he needs to stand trial for this shit. He tried to overturn. He didn't just debate the election results. He tried to overturn it by sending some people. You send your people, right? Hey, y'all go handle that for me. And so let's see how this works out. At this point, I watched them change laws that's already on the books for Trump to say, was it an act as the president? Was it an official act? But then was his people who did that. It was his cronies, his jabronis, as they say. Let me see. He says, this is Jesse Parrish. He says all these other groups delineate from us, but when we FBAs do, it's all of a sudden divisive. But when they do it, it's not divisive. Who said it wasn't divisive when they did it? Who said that? See, you can't make an assumption. You can't just make assumptions. If Jamaicans are living in our community and they say, well, we're not a part of them, we do our own thing, then fuck yeah, it's divisive. You're either with us or you're against us. I'm looking at it how it's affected us. Even this is a debate that exists even amongst foundational Black Americans. It ain't just us arguing with them. It's us arguing with us. Like it ain't, if it was just some Jamaicans or some Latino or some Puerto Ricans saying, oh, y'all wrong for that, then I'd be like, hey, it is what it is. But it's us saying we wrong for this. So we need to have a conversation about it. Like I said, it in itself, it is divisive, but I also believe it's necessary. I believe it's needed. I believe we should grab a hold to our own identity, write our own narrative, and say this us, this how we want it. But we got to keep the same energy about everything. It can't just be because somebody light-skinned and we decide we don't like them. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that motherfucker. He got red hair. I don't fuck with red hair people. Like, it's got to be some real shit. Like, nah, you know what? We standing on this. This is official. Now, if you're talking about getting on code, that's what getting on code would be, Kamar. To say, hold on, wait a minute. Don't forget foundational Black Americans. Put that shit on job applications. Don't just say Black, because it does say Black African American, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not with that, then put other. Because you don't want to. Some people are telling me stop putting Black on applications anyways. I hear Black people saying, man, put white. You're more likely to get an interview. Let me see. He said, we are not just one big nigga. We have our own cultures, ethnicities, and nationalities. Yeah, I thought that's what I thought was the point we made in the first place. He said, when they put their flags up, it's not a problem. But if we do it, it's a problem. A problem with who? Who on this planet, on this platform said it was a problem? What I said was it is divisive. And you yourself got to agree it's divisive, Jesse. Like, as strongly as you believe in it, you got to admit it's divisive. Like Kamar just said, divisive divides.
It means divide.
Right.
The root word is divide.
It's separating. It's putting people in groups. It's saying, how this our group over here.
And I ain't saying neither group is wrong. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just saying it's divisive. You know what I mean? That's just like how we talk about Democrats and Republicans. That's divisive. It's dividing us. You know what I'm saying? Same thing.
Look at the arguments behind that.
I'm not even saying that the DOAs, the freedmen, the FBAs, and none of them. I ain't saying none of them are wrong. You
No.
know what I mean? I'm just saying, why can't we just come to one thing?
As
Call
long
our
as
shit.
as
So
long
now
as
we know
I've been claiming this, how could I why is it being said that it's a problem? I've been claiming it. Look, it's in the hashtag for the show. FBA, EBA. If you know, you know. Okay. So it ain't no problem, but I'm gonna tell you the truth about it. I'm not gonna be just doing it and not knowing what it is divisive. But I don't have a problem with that because I believe in separate but equal in the first place. To tell you the truth. We can be separate all we want as long as everybody gets access to equal opportunity. Now, what happens is that doesn't exist because the separatism has one group out front as the recipients of everything, and the other groups just kind of waiting on crumbs. But if it was ever possible where you could say, hey, black people, here's y'all community, build it up, make it what it is. Here's access to all of the spoils and the benefits. Go and do y'all thing. I say, shit, let's do that. I'm just not a person who's dying to integrate myself. If it happens, it happens. But I'm not, oh man, I feel so much better if I just live next door to white people. I feel so much better if I ain't around no black people. Even I, though, sometimes say I don't want to go to certain places because I don't want to deal with, I don't want to deal with us. I can admit my limitations. I just wish other people could. Let me see. He says, I'm not talking about you, Kev. He says, I'm talking about the people who keep saying us delineating is divisive. Well, I just said it was divisive, though. I said it was divisive. But at the same time, I didn't say I had a problem with it. Jesse said, I've been saying that for the longest, Kamara. Why can't we come to one accord, have these same discussions with the Moors and Hebrew Israelites? Woo! Because I know they got something to say about this. I
yeah,
know
that's
they.
that right there is my whole point, because that's a whole art that's been a big argument in our community. You
Right.
know what I mean? On what we call ourselves.
How do we identify?
You know what I mean? That's been an issue. And my thing is, you know what I mean? And the reason why I say black, you know what I mean? Is because the people who I love, the people who I know, the people that's the closest to me, this is how they identify. You know what I mean? And I love them. I'm one of them.
But you also know that there's a difference between us and everybody else.
Yeah,
There is a
exactly.
difference between black American black people and everybody else. And I don't care if people try to fight me to their grave. There's a difference.
It
We
definitely
are
is.
built different. We're wired differently. We have a whole different set of culture. And the way we, like I said, the
And
way we speak,
technically, hey,
the way we
so
walk, the food we cook,
technically,
everything.
all of us would be that foundational Black Americans, because we from here. You know what I mean? We was born here, and that's what we've been called all our lives.
Unless you were told that you were Haitian.
You know what I'm saying? Or yeah, unless you come from another country,
Right,
unless
right.
you was born in another country. Like that's how we know of our nationality, or your family came from this country.
Well,
You know what I
them
mean? And
OGs
then
from
you,
them other countries will be quick to tell their children when they're young, boy, you're from, yeah. He'll tell
yeah,
them, they're
and
going to tell them their cultures.
that's what I'm saying. And all the people who I find, well, I don't be doing it, but who I see debating about this shit is people who was born here.
For the most part. That's why I said it's us against us.
Yeah. I
Right,
mean, why can't we just come like, damn, man, whatever the fuck it's gonna be called, let's create something new.
right. Well, I feel like FBA was new until it became just
Right.
bastardized,
Yeah,
right? Like,
now it's it's
now it's an
something
issue.
different.
Right. Dion, I got you through, man. What's popping?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. What's up?
You know, I always start off, nothing, man. I'm just sitting back, feeling the vibe, feeling, where I could put my little 2 cents in at. And I agree with you, Kevin. I agree that we are black people, our parents and our forefathers and before us and before our parents, they were, and slaves. And the people that come from Africa and Jamaica and Haiti and all those other countries, they, like you said, they don't share the same struggle that we share. But I've seen this coming years ago. So I don't know. You don't listen to A60 too much, and I don't know if Kamar listens to it, but it's a brother on there named Meech. And Meech used to come on there, and he used to check Michelle and them because they used POC, which was people of color. And when they used that conglomerated us all, blacks, Asians, Latinos, and that was the wrong thing to do. When they did that, that's what I be talking about, that ripple effect shit. When they did that, now here go the ripple effect. With us trying to debate on what are we. I'm a black man. You know, like before I even knew about ADOS and all that other shit, I was an African American. I'm American with my lineage is from Africa. Regardless, y'all could try to be like, well, you know, master, rape, this, that, and the other. Well, whatever. I look like a nigga, and that's what I'm going off of. My mama black, my grandmother black, my grandfather black. I don't know. I don't even think we got no Indian in our family. You know how niggas would be like, well, I'm 1% Indian because this is an Indian, and you know, my grandmother, my great grandmother, she was Cherokee. Listen, man, you black. That's just like I had the conversation the other day with my doctor. My doctor is Ethiopian, but she was born here. Her parents are from Ethiopia, but she was born here. And, you know, I was talking to her, and I said, you're not, you know, and she understood that. You know what I'm saying? Because we were talking about Christianity and stuff like that, and she understood that. You know what I'm saying? She understood that. So all this argument and this, that, and the other, like, we black, African Americans, you know, if we traced our lineage, maybe it might go back to Africa. Maybe it might not. Because like I said, if we start off with 16, 19, everyone that was born from 16, 19 on this continent was an American. Now, I don't know what the name of this continent was back then, but it was America. But I also, like, I was listening to Dr. Greg Carr, and he was talking about the guy who wrote the 2025 project with the Heritage Foundation. And he broke it down like this, and it made sense. So you have people that were born into slavery. Like, just say, for instance, me and you, we remember when we had Walkmans, black and white TVs, CD players, all that shit. These kids don't know nothing of that. So you had people that wasn't born in slavery. They knew what it was like to be free. Then you had people that was born into slavery. They had no idea what freedom was because this was the norm to them. But here go the key to it. You also had, slavery was a broad thing. So you also had them, they were still importing slaves from Trinidad, from Togo, from Brazil. Because outside of America, Brazil has the largest population of enslaved Africans. I think their population is even larger than America. Even Mexico has a larger, and we didn't, you know, they don't, see, that's the whole thing. They keep so much history hidden from us that we don't know nothing about a lot of this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to say we, but the average person, if you sit down and talk to them, they don't even know what today is. They probably know what New Jordan's coming out, but they don't know what today is. So now you
don't know it's Wednesday. Maybe that's why they ain't listening to Outlaw Radio. Look, y'all start sharing the show and reminding people it's Wednesday. Outlaw Radio is on.
Yeah. So now, and so it made sense. So just say you and I, we on the plantation. We were slaves from Africa. Now, we had children that was born into slavery, but now we're seeing slaves come from Brazil. We're seeing slaves come from Haiti. We're seeing slaves come from other, you know, Cuba, from Puerto Rico, because we had to look at slavery was an economy, and it was in demand for what crops were, you know, rice, sugar, tobacco. So a lot of those little islands and stuff like that, they had sugar, tobacco, rice, a lot of that stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
This is what happens. This is what happens. We start talking about 2024 America, and somebody has to start telling us the different origins of slavery, and that there was slavery in Panama, and that there was sugar crop plantations, and there's, you know, Irish people at one point was slaves. Like, we just we can't stay focused on what's at hand. And because this started from the question that I ask everybody, which is the FBA movement divisive amongst black people? Well, and people start talking about goddamn 1875 France and Japan, Japanese internment camps. Like, black people, because we love it. As soon as we acquire some knowledge, we want to spit that shit. Say, brother, Dr. Claude Johnson told me one time I was sitting down at UWM and he just happened to be walking by. That make the motherfucker seem like he's enlightened. I just want to know if the FBA movement in itself right now is divisive, and if it is divisive, is this necessary?
I think it's probably divisive among people that ain't educated and don't really know the background, because we want to identify with so much. You know what I'm saying? We do. That's just like, I'm not gonna get off into it, but
that's the only reason it's divisive.
That's just like with Christianity and people believing in God. We have no knowledge of our origin, so we attach ourselves to something.
That's
so
even more divisive.
Okay, hold on.
Like earlier.
Go ahead, Dion. No, I want you to finish because I want you to eventually answer the question. So.
No, I don't think I think it's divisive among people that want to identify with something, but with people that know who they are, fuck that shit. If I never heard of none of that shit, I'm an African American. I put black down, African American on my application, so I'm an African American. Now if you want to say you ADOS and all that other shit, that's cool. Cause okay, I'm an African descendant of slaves, but if none of that ever came about, I'm an African American, point blank. So for people like myself, I don't think it's divisive because I don't identify with nothing else. But for people that want to identify with something, it could be divisive. So it's kind of like 50-50. You feel what I'm saying? It is though, Kevin. It's not a black or white area with that shit though.
So yes, it's divisive, right? Yes, it's divisive.
Yeah.
Is it necessary? Yeah. The second part of the question was, is it necessary?
Hell no.
It's not necessary for us to acquire an identity or try to establish some sort of cultural foothold on our position in this country. That's not necessary.
Hell no.
Okay.
We already know what we is.
Okay. So then it makes no sense to do it.
Nope.
Okay.
Not to me.
Okay. That's all I'm looking for. That's all I'm looking for. Let me catch the chat room. Go ahead, Kamar.
I was gonna say, but then how will we be able to barter what we want or ask for what we want, what we need, what kind of laws we need? If you know what I'm saying, like if we don't identify as something, if we don't, you know what I mean? Like how will we know to tell them? Well,
I'm gonna give you your own medicine. Identities identify.
You know what I mean?
I told you I'm usually the one who can pop off, right? Like
right. You know what I mean? We need something to identify as so we know what to tell them, what kind of laws we need. You know what I mean? Like we be asking, just like the question how we ask, what do y'all got for black people? What you gonna do for black people? Mm-hmm. Like when we say that, we speaking of a certain group that we identifying as. You know
and people
I mean?
make it seem like it's bad to ask that question.
A collective name, but it's gonna be a problem with that finding a collective name because we got certain people that want to stand on what they feel like is what it should be. That's why I said maybe we should figure out something that's brand new. Come up with our own meaning that we can all agree with. And
chocolate tights. We have the chocolate tights. Jesse said I was black, never African American, and I do have Blackfoot in my family. He said, let me get Shabaka on the line. Said my birth certificate said black, not African American, colored, or Negro. He said Amexium, aka Turtle Island, was the original name of this content before Columbus came. Okay, I didn't know that. I stand informed. He said, correct Dion about
believe the earth was come off a turtle back.
He said, correct Dion about the numbers of enslaved Africans in each place outside of Africa.
Represent.
Tiarsa said, I definitely shared the show because you and Kamar was tripping for a minute with your 2 weeks at a time vacations. Huh? Were we talking about vacation, Kamar?
No, I think it was a day we didn't do the show. It was a week one day I didn't come, and then the next day, a different day I didn't make it or something.
Oh, okay. So she's saying we was tripping because we was both taking off at different times and the show was coming. Okay. I'm like, wait, was we talking about vacation? But she said we was tripping. So she's sharing the show tonight because
Right.
But we were on Monday. We've you know, there's been some spots. I was gonna try to come up with another little double kind of thing, but I couldn't think of one. I was gonna say happenings be happening or some shit. He said divisive tending to cause disagreement or dissension. Then that's exactly what the FBA thing is.
And it's divisive.
I'm watching anytime I gotta watch Luther Campbell debate with Rizza Islam, it's a fly in the buttermilk. But Luke's parents are from they're Islanders. So he's feeling a little butthurt behind the tether. And he said the tether thing is derogatory and it's nasty and it's mean. But and Tariq Nasheed, his move, Tariq has done a lot to pour fire on this. And especially with the tether Negro thing, but he makes some great points.
He's been saying that for years, though. He's been using that line for years.
God. He makes great points about it, though, because there are a lot of people who, like I said, when it's all good, it's all good. When the drama come, they get to backpedaling like Deion Sanders in his prime, right? Nah, I ain't with them. I ain't with them niggas. No, I am African. I'm Haitian. I'm Jamaican. I'm Latino, right? But so I think it is, and I'm proud. Like I said, y'all got to understand this. I'm big picture all day, a day. I ain't never seen black people this polarized about politics. That shit make me feel good. I've never seen this fired up about our own identity. That shit makes me feel good. I've never seen so many people talking about demanding that an elected official do what they're supposed to do and to tell us what you're gonna do before we vote for you blindly. That shit is lovely. You know, the first stage of revolution is always kind of messy. It's a lot of collateral damage. It's a lot of, and then you start to fine tune it. You start to fine tune it and you start to figure out how to really do it efficiently. And I feel like we're in the beginning stages of, okay, we're a little we all over the place right now with this shit. But I feel like it's going somewhere. Go ahead, Dion.
Yeah, I wanted to interject. I wanted to see you some today, but I said, no, you probably weren't going to look at it anyway. But it's about what you're talking about. And it made sense. Because I listened to Karen Hunter. And she said out of history, and it kind of, I feel her on that, though. You know what I'm saying? She said in history, ain't none of us ever asked no motherfucking vice president what they gonna do for us. But when a black woman running, you know what I'm saying? We ain't asked Dick Cheney, we ain't asked Darren Quill, we ain't asked Al Gore, we ain't asked nobody. Now all of a sudden we want to know what she gonna do for us. And I'm like, yeah, that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because we're allowing we're allowing these people to get inside our mind. Like people don't even understand. The vice president really has no role. She is a placeholder for the president, and she sits on the Senate, and she's the deciding vote if the with the House or somebody got the majority. That's the only role she has. She can't make no policy. She can't pass no policy. See, that's the whole thing about educating yourself on politics. She has no role. So when people are like, well, what she's gonna do? Why she ain't do nothing all this time? Then you know what I'm saying? It sounds foolish. And when people don't know politics, but then, they're allowing the white people to keep, well, Kamala, she did this, and now she want to be black, and this, that, and the other, and woo-to-woo. And here we go, falling for the same old shenanigans, and don't even recognize, well, what's she going to do for us? I'm going to vote for goddamn Jack Nicholson, and I'm going to put Robert F. Kennedy, and I'm Cornel West, and, I'm not going to vote for her. Then you know what? We're going to end up with that fucking Project 2025 shit, and all that shit is going on, and we're going to be sitting around looking stupid in the motherfucker, and ain't nobody asking Donald Trump.
You not, because you like parts of it. You said you like parts of it.
I do.
So you ain't going to be that mad. You're going to be chilling.
I mean, Kev, I said I like it's 900 and some pages. Just because a few parts of it made sense to me, it's a whole lot of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm fucking with you.
Listen, wait, hold on. They even talking about, if you looking at the Department of Labor, they even talk about ending overtime where you don't even get paid for the shit. These motherfuckers is insane though. And what's more funnier though is I'm gonna mute the phone and shit because I'm driving and shit. I know you don't want to hear my background. I just like to listen live. And what's more funny is these ignorant ass white people that's out here working in these coal mines. They're like, yeah, Donald Trump, this and that and another. As soon as his stupid ass get up in there, and now they all fucked over and shit, they're gonna be like, what happened? He did it to you, and you let him did it to you. You handed him the jar of grease and bent over and took it all in the ass. And now you a milk shitter. Yeah, you a milk shitter now. I'm gonna mute it and listen.
Yeah, you should mute after you say that. You should mute all the way up after you say that. I don't even know what that's one I ain't never heard. Let me see who's in the chat room. Shout out to Renee. What's this? Fast Black. Renee Fast Black. How you doing? Tiarsha. This is Tiarsha's company. Welcome to the show. She shouted her out. Jesse says divisive 10. Okay, we read now. Who is this? Elia Garb, CFO, Islamism. Okay. Single word, I guess. I don't know. What about it? Meanwhile, back at the ranch here in Milwaukee, school has started, right? And so we knew that going into the school, and by the way, the interim superintendent is saying that MPS is getting his house together. Like they're getting things taken care of. They're moving forward. We know that this is a calamity of what has happened. But the latest controversy is, remember when the tax hike was signed? One of the provisions was that MPS was required to bring back resource officers. Well, there's no officers in the schools right now. And the police union is saying this is illegal. MPS is saying we haven't hired anyone. So I guess there's a debate about who's going to hire the officers to be in the schools. Once again, the ball is dropped somewhere in which somebody didn't say, hey, y'all, how we going to implement the resource officers? School's starting and y'all still ain't set up. This MPS shit gets worse and worse. So the question extends itself is, do we actually need these police officers in the school? Because I'm going to be honest, when the police officers were in the schools, there were some situations where the police got hurt by the kids. Now, in the past few years, I believe it's been 6 years since they've been in the schools. We know last year there were several incidents in which there were just large-scale fights at schools. One in this article, which is in the People's News Network, cited a big brawl at Vincent High School, saying there was 40 to 50 kids involved, and the staff was overwhelmed, security was overwhelmed. So we started the show off, and I didn't call our kids savages, but I said they're displaying some savage behavior. A lot of them, not all of them, because there's a number of them who are doing very well. Shout out to you if you got a kid, son or daughter who's doing what they supposed to be doing, which is striving and trying to find a way to survive in a positive way, not victimizing someone. And then they say, like they say, it was raised right. Shout out to you if you got children. I got two of them. So I'm grateful to God for that, right? It's not because it's not because I'm a certified professional life coach, which I am, but it's a blessing from God that they both, are on the right track as we speak. And I pray that they continue to be, on that, because things can change overnight. So let me see. Jesse says, well, just to clarify, Dr. Claude Anderson came up with the term Native Black Americans. Then Yvette and Tone stole ADOS from a Black American named Shelton Norris, who came up with DOAs, then Tariq. Thank you for that clarity, right? Thank you for that clarity. He says, then Tariq came up with foundational Black Americans. Okay, like I said, I just thought this was Tariq, one of the things he's kind of conceived. He said, how does it sound dumb, Dion, to demand something for your vote from any candidate seeking your vote? Tiarsha says, shout out to my granddaughter heading to UW Whitewater. Hey, shout out to your granddaughter. As a matter of fact, let's make that a thing. If you got somebody who got a child out there, a young person in your family who's doing big things, holla at them right here, and we'll give them a big up. Shout out to my son who's a freshman in college and my daughter who's a recent college graduate. 18 and 21 years old, respectively. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And anybody, if you got what I'm telling you, and I mean this, if you got your child, your niece, your nephew, holla at them, give them a shout out. Because we do a lot of focusing on the kids that are acting the ass, but we forget that that's not even the majority of our kids. That's a small population, a small percentage. And a lot of our kids, I see it. I see y'all on Facebook. I see so many people dropping their babies off I finally dropped him off at Oregon State. I finally dropped him off at wherever across the country. I just, I hope they succeed. I hope because, college is a tough thing. You got to have a spirit of perseverance to make it through, especially when you go out of town. It's a whole deal. A shout out to them kids that said, I need something bigger than this. I need to see something different. But yeah, Kamar, do you think we need to have these police in school? Like, are you cool with that? And I don't know where's your, how old is your daughter now?
13.
Okay, so she's
in the 8th grade right now.
8th grade.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so she hadn't made it to the high school yet. But I mean, again, this is one of them things where you got to look at the time that we living in, and what's going on. You know what I mean? Is it going to be about safety for the kids that want to be there and want to do right? You know what I mean? Or are we thinking about the safety of the ones that's acting in the ass in school and causing riots and shit and tearing the school up, beating kids up, bullying or whatever they be doing out? You know what I mean? Like, which kids are we trying to protect? You know what I mean? And it's a part of me. I still see it both ways. You know what I mean? Because we know how aggressive the police can be. You know what I mean? How overly aggressive the police can be, which can be a problem also. So, you know what I mean? At the same time, I don't want that. You know what I mean? But I want the kids that want to be there to be able to be there, you know what I mean, comfortably. And that may help with that. You know what I mean? And then, like I say, we look at the time that we in, the different stuff that's going on. Like you see the cars driving up on the school grounds, driving crazy around the school. You know what I mean? The riots, still kids fighting and shit, bringing weapons and calling people up to the school. I think maybe we do need the police there because they're going to get called anyway.
That's what I was going to say. They sitting outside.
Yeah, they're going to get called anyway. They might as well be there.
You know what? As a former educator, I'm going to speak from their perspective. I think the police need to be in the school to protect them. Because I've seen a lot of teachers, safeties, principals get hurt by these kids. Like
that part too, yeah.
And the parents. How many over the last few years? How many situations have we had where an irate parent attacked the teacher, wanted to beat the mess out the sister last year?
Right.
Some big old gorilla, McGilla looking chick.
And then the police got called after that.
That's right. And maybe
why not have the police there?
Maybe Officer Winarski should have been standing nearby.
You know what I'm saying? And that wouldn't have happened.
Now I hear you. I hear my Black Power people saying, Kev, I can't believe you endorsing Babylon 12. We pay them. We pay them. We're taxpayers. We pay them. We literally pay them to protect us.
How else can we stop these kids from doing what they doing?
Consequences.
Obviously, they ain't listening to us when we tell them to stop.
Not a bit. Not a bit.
So how do we stop them?
Right.
Now, when the police kill one of them kids up in the school, I don't want to hear no shit now that says collateral damage.
You gonna hear some shit.
A lot of these police
hear some shit. Why wouldn't you?
That's just like I heard you earlier. You was talking about these kids out here stealing the cars. But a couple weeks ago, a girl shot a motherfucker that was trying to steal her car, and he could have got in that car, stole that motherfucker, got into a high-speed chase, and killed the whole family.
He didn't.
We can't have it. But we can't have it.
He did not, though. You can't say if. He didn't do it. Why you keep saying, now, if he had a hit? The fact of the matter is he didn't steal the car. He busted the window, and he fled the scene, and she got in the car and tracked him down and murdered him. Totally different situation.
Potato.
Right.
Tomato.
Right. Potato. Okay.
So if he hadn't made the decision, hold on. So if he hadn't made the decision to fuck with her shit, let's talk about accountability now.
If there's all is, if my
auntie don't know what
the
hell she was going through in that day. You know what I mean? She may have just lost it at that point.
We keep saying if my auntie had balls, she'd have been my uncle. I'm for real. Like, yeah, what if he she killed him? He deserved to die because he could have got. He didn't.
The thing is, he shouldn't have been at her car.
Shouldn't have been fucking with other people's shit. He put himself. What you call it, Kamar? Occupational hazard.
Straight up.
This is part of the job.
Part
right?
of the job.
You a stunt man. You jump off the building. Sometimes the bungee cord snap. Oh, poor stunt man. He knew the job was dangerous when he took it.
You play football, you may sprain your ankle or something. I
Shit.
mean, it's part
Come
of the
on,
job.
Man. Hey, man, listen. I'm walking around here right now looking like Yoda with a walking stick because I knew the risk. Right. And I don't even know if that's what it was about. But if that caused it, then you think I'm gonna cry about it? You think I'm gonna tell somebody, no, you shouldn't play football or whatever? I say, man, live your life. Right. It could be a bullet in my back that had me
Straight
walking
up.
like this.
Straight up.
Right. So whatever, live with it, deal with it. But I tell you what, if the police are in this school and they do kill one of these kids, you're gonna hear something because that's somebody who's grossly abusing their duty. It's just like when the 4 dudes sat on the brother's back down there at the Hyatt. If you security, yeah, we want you there to keep the guests safe. Ain't nobody gave you the right to kill nobody, just outright murder them. Yeah, I got a fucking problem with it when you overstep your boundaries. Just like if you get pulled over in the car and the police shoot you, yeah, we're gonna say something about it. But I still expect for our tax-paying citizens to be protected by the police that we pay out of our taxes. Yes, I expect that. Jesse says quid pro quo. If I scratch your back, you scratch mine in layman's terms. He said Malcolm X said make it plain, and he also warned us about the Democratic Party 60 years ago. Okay. Elia Garb, CFO. I hope I'm saying Elia. I hope I'm saying it right. He said his daughter's 36. Same man since 13, 2 grands. Oldest graduated from a tech school, electrical engineering. She just went to see life on the reservation. Shout out to all the positive young people out here. If you know one, please call their name on this show. We big up them. I wish I had something to give them, like a backpack or something, but I don't. He said, Elia Garb, wow, she's a year younger than me. He laughed. Said, yeah, we don't need anyone unintended consequences from these SROs, these school resource officers. Okay, but then once again, we go back to if 50 kids are stomping a police officer out, I'm just saying, 50 kids having a riot and the police officer's trying to stop it and they overwhelm her or him and he's trying to get a warning shot off, or even if he's just pulling his gun because he started getting his shit stomped in and pow, one of them get hit. What? Whose fault is that? Fuck, why y'all jumping on a police officer? Important questions, hard conversations. Solutions, very hard to come up with.
But, I still ask, well, how do we stop these kids from doing what they're doing in the school if they ain't listening to us telling them to stop? How do we stop them, y'all? Please help me. How do we stop them from doing this crazy ass shit? Fucking other kids up, beating the fucking principals down, fucking the teachers up and shit. You know what I mean? Like, how do we stop them from doing that? How do we stop them from putting all these other people's lives in danger that's just trying to go there, learn or teach and go the fuck home? You know what I mean? How do we stop them? Somebody answer that. Quit saying all this other bullshit. Tell me how to stop them.
I think it's a mixture.
Stop dancing around a fucking question. If you don't want the police there, how do we stop them?
I think it's a mixture, Kamar.
Bottom line.
It takes a little bit of law, and then it takes a little bit of family.
Saying the police is the wrong
family
idea.
Stability. No, I'm saying to them too. I understand it's a complicated brew. It's not very easy, but the system has to do its part, and families have to do their part. They have to.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of the families just telling their kids to freeze the bullshit. Take your ass to school to learn and come home.
Right.
But they're going to school and they ain't listening. So what I'm saying is, how do we stop these kids that ain't listening to us? We telling them to stop already. That's all we can do. Like, how do we stop
it? Yeah. I'm just gonna call you CFO.
If you don't want the police in the schools, this is a problem we having in Milwaukee. If you think the police shouldn't be there, how do we stop these kids from acting a goddamn fool when they get to school?
Caller, you got to turn every device down. You got to turn everything down. I love how black people want to hear their voice when they call in. You got to listen after. You got to listen back to the show. You got the floor. What's your name, caller? Where you calling from?
Watch this. Islamism.
Okay.
Peace and love. We thank people for the work everybody's doing.
Peace,
okay, so wow, man. When you ask questions like that, how do we stop the children? And I was born in 1965. I don't know if that makes a difference to everybody, but when I grew up, we had fist fights in school. And all this disrespect did not exist. And the old lady walked down the street, and no matter what we was doing, we gonna stop because mommy not supposed to know. In 1987, I was 22, and I seen this whole thing change. Crack, 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 crack.
There we go.
The system that we speak on, it changed. And, it really demoralized us, but we were demoralizing ourselves because in 87, they came out, women ain't it but blitz and blitz.
All at the same time.
These type of thoughts about ourselves is young girls now, they growing up with that thought about themselves. It's like when I was growing up, I watched a lot of things change. People would say, well, a wife is really a whore because, excuse me for saying it that way, because she still expects to get money from her husband. So you took the wife and made her, well, what kind of, it's the same mentality that has some men thinking that they're feminine or they could be a partner, or we have to accept people. We see your actual gender, but you want me to recognize another. So when we come at our children, how do we stop them? We're sending them to these deviant people in the school system who are going to start off with a lie, diminishing our children's intelligence, telling them Christopher Columbus, 1492, when that's when you came to be. So our children don't have a good feeling about themselves. So when you ask how to stop it, it's a large question. But remember, if you hit your child or beat your child, if you spank your child, you might go to jail. Ray. All of these things are the problem. When I first had my children in the 80s, I walked up in these schools. It was in the 90s when they locked the door. Who are you locking out? You can't lock me out. I'm a parent. So even while I was in the school, if I saw somebody else's child acting up, I would check that child. Why? You think I won't go to the principal's office and have them call your parents right now and tell your parents how you acting? Sit down. And my son is there. My daughter is there. See, these children, they don't see that. They don't see, we don't have and they know the door's locked. You can't just get in. There's going to be an announcement that you're coming to, so they get to clean up a little bit. So the parents have to, if you're going to deal with the public school system, the parents are going to have to get back on their job and tell you don't lock my child in the school. We got so many brothers who done died in the street who could have been sitting outside the schools to protect our children, to make sure that the fight ain't going on, to make sure that but we don't look at ourselves from a superior position. We look at ourselves from an inferior position. And this is where because see, even with my grandchildren, my daughter wants to send her son to school. He wants to go to school. That boy don't belong in school. You leave that boy home. He get the education because education starts at home. I send you to school to prove I was right. That's why I send you to school to prove I was right on everything. Now, I might not know math that great and all, so now you're going to school to learn. But before you got there, you learned everything about conduct, respect, reading, writing. You learned all that at the table from me. And if our children are not growing up in that kind of environment, then we failed them already. And that's what exists in these schools. Children going home hungry, drug addicts, and alcoholics in home. This is the reality of everything. Children going home to no guidance. That's where we're losing it.
Okay.
That's what we saying. Like, that's happened already. So that's why we like, well, where we at right now? We got to look at it like where we at right now, and what do we do? You know what I mean? What can we do to stop these kids? How do we change this dynamic? You know what I mean? Because see, here in Milwaukee, I don't know where you at, but here in Milwaukee, it's fucked up. Like the locked doors and shit, that shit comes from kids calling motherfuckers up there to jump other kids, to jump the parents coming up there, jumping the teachers and shit. And so that was like a cause and effect thing. You know what I mean? They locked the doors to keep people from coming in the school that was causing harm. You know what I mean? Like I say, it's a bunch of shit going on. We teach our kids the right things. We teach them how to act. They know how to act, but when they get somewhere, a lot of the time, they get around their friends, they don't always do like we teach. You know what I mean? Is and
Yes,
like
sir.
how can we stop them? I ain't saying I'm having a problem so much with that, but like it's a in general type of thing that's going on out here. Hit the drug issues, and you was right. Like it's a lot of different stuff to add into it, but I ain't talking about how it happened. We want to know how do we fix it? Because right now it's a big issue right here in Milwaukee where they want to know if they should put the officers back in the school or not because they took them out a few years back. You
But
know
they
what I'm
have
saying?
to. They have to. It's a law now. They have to, and they haven't
Okay.
done it yet.
So, well, yeah. So we there. You know what I mean? And like I say, it's a cause and effect thing. It's all kind of shit going on. Like these kids here, they stealing cars. They all up on the schoolyard doing donuts in the grass, flying on the school property and circling the schools, flying around the school. And you know what I mean? Somebody need to be there. You know what I mean? We got to figure out what to do. So the people who we paying, we need to have their ass there dealing with that shit on the spot. Because when all this different stuff go on in the school, the police get called anyway.
Okay.
So that's where the parents need to unite. And the parents, even as far as policing the community and being out there, and I understand, like
Parents got to go to work.
But see, God, man, we can't look at it that way, God, man. Whenever, like, if a well is about to explode, and all I got to do is stick my finger in there, I stick my finger in there, and as people come by asking to bring me a sandwich, and they say, well, why are you doing that? Because the people who fixed this thing, they didn't come over here and fix it. So I'm going to keep my finger in here until they come to fix it. I'm going to put my finger in there. Because if I don't, then a whole bunch of us going to be dead. Me first, I was the closest to it. I seen it. It's about the I got to stamp it. So this is the attitude that we have to take to the streets with our children. And I don't mean the gully attitude that we have, but where all that go? Now we're talking about our children, and everybody done softened up and this, that. Yo, F the state. I don't want to get you all in no trouble.
No, you can't.
It's
You
all
can't.
good.
Hey,
It's all
this
good.
is
I
Outlaw
agree
Radio.
with
You say whatever you want. Say whatever you want.
The thing is, I agree with you. I feel like it is us that has to do something about it. You know what I mean? We can't expect the police to fix the whole issue, but you know what I mean? And I agree, like I said, I agree that it's us that we got to figure something out. But the truth is, like when you say like we go to the schools, a lot of parents is they check the check out here. You know what I mean? They can't stand to be missing work, and that's another one of the reasons they kids is doing stuff because they know their parents ain't got the time. I hear you.
So let me interject for a second, because I think what we got to remember is a lot of what you hear on here is relevant to what's happening in our city, and I can tell you unequivocally that our children are at the point where they don't have a respect for adults in that fashion. Meaning, if we were to do that, because they look at us now as old heads, like these old dudes, they don't know what they're talking about. And now we're talking about a group of youngsters who are highly armed. I mean, when they talk about the Glock switches and all that, this is what we're dealing with in Milwaukee. I'm talking about that's why I said, in our schools, what we've encountered is riots, but for all intents and purposes, we're up to 50, 60 young people are involved. Overwhelming security, overwhelming administrators, to the point, it's on the news, and we see it, like, kids going to jail. Like, we are dealing with an extreme case of aggression in our youth. And so that's why we're saying, if we're not going to put these resource officers back into the schools, then what are we going to do? Right? Like my question about the whole Kamala Harris thing was, okay, if we're not going to fight Trump and MAGA off, then what are we going to We're not gonna vote for Kamala, which I understand a lot of people feel a certain way, and you have that right. And I would never try to tell you otherwise. But then what are we gonna do then? So then what's the plan? Because we definitely shouldn't be getting behind what I consider a very racist individual. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, so I don't want to take you too far off. But I do want to ask you one specific question why we have you on the line. Because the main concern that we talked about tonight is the whole FDA, DOA, ADOS movement divisive? And if it is divisive, is it a necessary division amongst our people?
Bro. Now, I got to tell you before, Brother Jesse did tell me to call in.
Okay.
And he told me to call in because we've had these discussions numerous times.
That's what's up.
So now, y'all asked the question, and you didn't ask me another question, so I just answered for y'all because I've been a part of the political system here in Connecticut.
Okay.
And I could have ran for their offices. These people love me. I could run today as a Republican. I'm telling you, Republican, if I want to, they'll take me and pay their money to run me and get me in office. I choose not to. I'm saving it for my people.
Okay.
I'm saving it for my people because when we study the law, we're going to find out there's no such thing as Black and African American. And we're going to find out that the only reason why we're going through our problem is because we label ourselves under the United States as Black, African American, and Negroes. That's the only reason why we have the problem that we have. Everybody remember separate but equal? We were supposed to be doing what they're doing for them. We were supposed to be doing that for ourselves. And
now, hold on. It seems like we have an audio issue because people are saying that something's off with the sound. So give me a second. What happened? Y'all let me know. Am I clear now? Because I don't want this brother to waste his input, and I don't know why we're having. Sometimes we get off into some conversations where mysteriously things go haywire. I'm not having a problem on my end. Kamar, can you hear me?
I could hear you,
Kamar,
but it sound funny.
You said the sound of the video sounds distorted on my end.
It sound choppy.
I don't know what's going on right now. Hold on. Sometimes you get a little deeper and
super fast.
The system knows what's about to come out my mouth. And they don't want us to know.
Hey, we was about to figure this. We was about to figure this shit out.
This is unusual because I never really had these problems. I can't see it on my end. Everything on my end looks like it's okay, so I don't know what's going on. Sounds choppy and chipmunk like oh, that's a new one. Hold on. Let me see something.
Yo. Anybody here with me? Is this thing on?
Can y'all hear me now? Kamar, can you hear me now?
Same thing. I can hear you, but it's choppy and fast.
I don't know why. She said we're breaking up.
Everybody sound right to you?
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I don't know, y'all. This is going haywire on me.
So I'm gonna hang up and call back in. Let's see if that fixes it.
Let's see if that'll fix it.
Yes, sir.
Say something now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the sound.
Same thing.
He said Kamar sounds fine. I can't even hear Kamar, so I can't even hear Kamar. So I don't know what's going on.
Same thing.
Let me try something else. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know. If I can't get this right, I'll cancel it because I want everybody to be heard clear. So we'll end it and we'll just come back. I don't know what's going on. Let me see. Full access. My audio is audioing. Everybody keeps saying Kamar sound fine. I can't hear Kamar.
Oh,
so,
man.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's all bad over.
I'll tell y'all what I'm going to do. I'm going to end the stream because I want this point to get out. I want this to be a real conversation. I'm going to end the stream and log back in, and then we'll see if we can fix the sound. If not, I know I got a problem with my system internally.
All right.